Paddington the Musical has arrived in London and it feels like it always belonged there. The West End is never going to be the same because this is the final missing piece of the puzzle to make London theatre offer complete. And in this video, I'm going to tell you 5 reasons why I think that is the case. The story of a little bear who gets sent to London by his Aunt Lucy with some marmalade and gets adopted by a London family is the one that charmed people around the world. Written by Michael Bond, this story was first published in 1958, but ever since people cannot get enough of Paddington adventures. And this musical is just another proof that this story is very much alive and resonating with people. In the past decade, there have been 3 movies following adventures of Paddington that have been very successful, and Paddington has become a recognizable London feature, but also it is a story that kids around the world as well as adults love. I don't think that there is anyone who doesn't like Paddington. And when it comes to adapting this kind of beloved story on stage, the expectations have been high and a lot of pressure has been on the creative team's shoulders to deliver. They need to nail the biggest part of this puzzle, and that is the actual bear. Is bear going to be believable? And live theater is no animated movie where you can play with different effects and do things in post-production. This is happening live on stage. So how did they do it? If you have seen any of the pictures of Paddington that have been released on the day of the first preview performance, Paddington there in the musical is absolutely adorable. It is also a very innovative way that they have delivered the bear, because there is one actor in the costume of Paddington, which is animatronic, and then there's another person who's giving him voice off stage and controlling its facial features. So you do get something that really looks like a living, breathing bear on stage. And while you are aware that this is a story and this is a fictional bear, it does come across very, very real, especially because James Hamid, who is controlling Paddington faces off stage, is kind of like blinking and he's opening his mouth when he's singing, and like little movements on his face just like give that almost like Pixar style emotion on Paddington's face. And then Arti Shah is the actor who is in the costume of Paddington on stage. She's able to move and do choreographies and react real time in what's happening on the stage, and the actors and the cast are able to interact with the bear. When it comes to the solution that they have provided for the bear, it is even better than it seems on the photos. It felt so real. It felt almost too real that people have been expressing emotions towards Paddington on the internet and crying, and I totally get them because I cried for good 2 hours because how cute Paddington is when you go see the musical. So this is the first reason why I think Paddington is here to stay, and it's a musical that will be in London for a while. It is a perfect show for the whole family, and it doesn't matter how old you are, Paddington the musical will find a way to your heart, and it will make you feel a little bit warmer, a little bit more hopeful, and you will truly believe in magic of this story on stage because it's delivered so well. The second thing that is amazing about this musical is the music. Tom Fletcher from the band McFly is the mastermind behind lyrics and music of Paddington the Musical, and I think what he did so well is that he didn't just give us great ballads and heartwarming, uplifting songs, but he also provided songs with a lot of character and quirks, which in turn allowed other characters apart from Paddington to really have something to hold on to deliver truly unique representation of these amazing stage characters. And I think that is very much grounded in very witty lyrics, in such energetic songs at times, but then there's also a lot of heartwarming moments that are still there, but not in that over-the-top musical theater style, but I think it's just so Paddington. It really corresponds well with the character of Paddington that we know, and this musical just being an extension of it rather than something that feels slightly disjointed with this previous idea of Paddington that we all have. It's really interesting to see that Paddington the Musical has already released 2 songs from the soundtrack on Spotify, and I think this is probably influenced from Tom being a musician himself and releasing singles, because this has really generated a lot of buzz before even the show opened. So the 2 songs that you're able to stream at the moment are The Explorer and The Bear and Pretty Little Dead Things, and these are definitely the highlights of the show. Pretty Little Dead Things is obviously a song by Millicent Clyde, and it is probably the most catchy one that once you hear it, you can't get it out of your head, and the delivery on stage is amazing, but I'm going to talk about cast in a second. The soundtrack is full of beautiful and memorable songs. Some of my favorites are The Rhythm of London and Hearts There from Act 1, and then from Act back to Marmalade, and the Geographers Guild was also a really funny number, but throughout you're just very much engaged with the music, and every song really feels like it's driving the plot and the story, and it's so on brand for characters that it is one of those musicals that is so well thought out, and there's so much care that has gone into it that everything flows really perfectly in terms of the storyline and the way that songs correspond to it. The cast of Paddington the Musical is impeccable. There are some amazing West End names in it, but I don't think that that's what makes it great. The fact that every single member of the cast has brought something unique to their roles truly makes it feel like these roles are written for them, like literally nobody else can play them. Let's start with Paddington, who is delivered by James Hamid and Artie Shaw. They're delivering this performance together, Artie Shaw on stage and James Hamid off stage, and they really need to be super well coordinated. And what I particularly love about this production is that James Hamid actually comes on stage and has a few interactions with Paddington, and we get to understand from the very beginning that James Hamid is the person who's going to be delivering off-stage Paddington voice, and then Artie Shaw is in the costume and on stage, but just the way that the two of them work together and they need to coordinate everything and truly be so in sync with each other to make Paddington as believable as possible is amazing. They are the ones who are bringing magic to stage, because if Paddington wasn't believable, then the musical wouldn't just be as great. James Hamid has the most beautiful voice. It's so crystal clear and so innocent at times, and truly offering that insight into Paddington's kindness and that really gentle way of talking and being amazed by everything that surrounds him. He does that so well. And on the other hand, Artie Shaw is also very gentle with the movements and the way that she walks on stage and the way that she interacts with other actors is making Paddington really come to life in the best possible way. Another standout performance is by Victoria Hamilton Barrett, who is Millicent Clyde. She's the person delivering Pretty Little Dead Things song, and she does it with so much sass and hate, but then also there's an underlying tone of sadness that sometimes she lets us see, but generally she's a very engaging character that is so malicious and mean and also really, really fun to watch on stage. Mr. Curry, he is delivered by Tom Eden, and he is another person delivering an outstanding performance. He is so fantastic in this role and so funny and so engaging and just so over the top, but in the right way. This is a really interesting character to portray because you kind of hate him throughout the show, and then towards the end you actually start understanding him and liking him. And the Brown family, I know that they're not related, but God, they do look like one. They are all phenomenal, and I really enjoyed seeing them all together as a family on stage. They're really fun to watch, especially Mr. Brown, who's delivered by Adrian Dare Gregorian. Bird is another fantastic character delivered by Bonnie Langford. And Bonnie Langford is one of the West End stars who has been around for such a long time, and seeing her on stage and seeing her how amazing she moves and dances and does splits and things like that, I was absolutely stunned by her performance too. Paddington the Musical has a big cast with a lot of ensemble members and a lot of dancers as well, so it does really feel like there's a lot of people on stage, but it doesn't feel too crowded. I think there are some amazing choreographies that really help them move, and it is all delivered really well with the set design that I'm going to talk about now. The set is designed by Tom Pye, who is a person who also designed a set for My Neighbor Totoro, which totally makes sense because both these shows make magic real on stage. When you enter into the theater, you see Mr. Gruber's shop window, and then on the sides of the auditorium you can see London's skyline. So it immediately positions you into this space where you're ready to embrace the story, but also because that skyline is visible and it looks like something between a painting and an illustration and a little bit of realism as well. It just gives you that element of entering a whole new and different world. So this was a really nice way to set you up for what you are about to see. And then throughout the show, there are so many interesting set design solutions. So there's very much a scene that is replicating the chaos that happens when Paddington enters Brown's house. So during this scene, there were a lot of things that were falling off the shelves, the bathtub that was hanging from the ceiling. It was really fun to watch how basically set design enabled this pretty much choreography on stage. And there were a lot of times when the actors would just like pull something from the wall on the set and a new thing would appear. So it is very much centered around Mr. Gruber's shop being that kind of focal point. Set design and costumes go hand in hand, and the person behind the costumes is Gabriella Slade, who designed also costumes for Six and Starlight Express. Paddington's costumes are nothing like that. They more mimic the everyday life fashion, just they're full of like bright colors and a lot of character. I think each character has its own color palette, and the way that they carry themselves is also very much aided by the costumes. The fifth reason why Paddington is the musical that I hope will stay in London for a very long time is because it's truly a love letter to London. No show captures the difficulty and the beauty of living in London in such way, and it really celebrates a lot of things that London is about, to the point that at times I was just genuinely crying about the fact that I get to live in this city. But at the same time, I think it really nicely marries the themes that are so prominent right now, and that is about people who are coming from a different place and how they're finding home here, and just generally kindness that goes a long way, and people being more open and receptive of each other. And then there's also an underlying tone about the environment and animals, and this is all packaged up in a story about London and celebrating what London is about. So I think that they have managed to hit so many amazing points that go deeper beyond a kids entertainment show. The reason why Paddington resonates so much with people is because it represents almost the ideal of what we aspire to be kind, to trust in the best intentions of strangers, to go with an open heart and ready to help and ready to listen to others. I think that there are so many fantastic messages of this show, but it is very much grounded in the story about London. This show already got extended until October 2026, and I do think that this is going to become the staple of the West End, and I am just excited for more people to see it and experience it.